Welcome, Divine Feminines. This is the beginning of a powerful journey. A journey where self-love is not just an act, but a force that brings justice to your life and your world. In this session, we step into a space of healing, reflection, and deep transformation. It's time to reclaim your power, restore your balance, and remember the divine essence within. Self-love is your birthright. Justice is the gift it brings. This is just the beginning. Welcome to part 2 of Self-Love Brings Justice. Let's dive in. Thank you for tuning in to Sacred Empowerments of the Divine Feminine. I am your girl, YaYa, the spiritual doula. Welcome to everyone. If this is your first time listening to Sacred Empowerments or the first time hearing my voice at all, welcome to the official channel of Yolanda YaYa Williams. Please, after you listen to this message, if you feel obliged to, we would love for you to join us. So hit the subscribe button. Okay, join the family, join the tribe, and go on and subscribe. All right, go on and subscribe. Also, turn on your notification bell so you will know when I am back with another message. If you are a returning subscriber, what's good, soul family? What's good, divine feminists? My sisters, how is everybody doing? Hope you are doing well. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Um, we got another session. Now last week, well, not last week. See, I'm going way too far back into the past. But last video, this is the second video of what is going to be a 4-part session. And in the last video, we discussed the need to raise our vibrations as it relates to fearlessly loving ourselves as individuals, having that self-confidence and that self-respect that all divine feminines should possess and will need to possess if you are going to truly be divinely feminine. All right. In this message, this is the second video. As I was preparing for this second part of this message, the mother had gave me a little bit of extra, like when she give me extra. And as I was going over my notes, she said, in essence, in the first video, we talked about the courage that you're going to need to possess as you are developing a healthy boundary, healthy standards for yourself, all through self-love. We discussed not giving out of our deficit, but serving our families, the world, in whatever capacity we have been called upon to do so, but always from our overflow, that we serve ourselves first before we give to others. Right? If you did not watch that message, you might want to turn this one off. And you might want to go watch part 1 first. Or you can listen to this part and you can go watch part 1 after. Nevertheless, she said to me, in essence, what you were discussing in part 1 is the healing of the consciousness of divine feminine. Because see, the lifetime that you are living right now is the lifetime that you are most conscious of. It is the youngest mind of you. The conscious mind is the youngest mind that you possess. Okay. And so when we are dealing with healing within this lifetime, traumas within this lifetime, disappointments, we are healing, unrequited love. We are healing, from past mistakes. We are healing from some things that happened to us as children that we can't take full responsibility for it happening, but we have to take responsibility for our healing. Okay. Those things reside in the consciousness of you. The conscious mind is the mind of you that is most aware of the world you're living in now, the life that you're living now, the people around you now, those relationships now, the job you're on now. The conscious mind is aware of your now, your present, physical existence. And so when we go about healing our now, we are in essence healing the consciousness that we have of our current self. Okay. And in part two of this dialogue, this conversation, we're going to discuss how when we have done the work to heal the self and the self perception and the idea of self, when we have done the work or are doing the work, some of you have already moved past this phase and some of you may have not even started at all. Some of you may be halfway through, some of you may be going through your healing season right now. You know how this message applies to you. But when we have done the work to heal the perception of ourselves, the perception of our now, the perception of our current condition, right? When we heal our idea of self-respect, when we heal the idea we have of self-confidence, when we become more self-aware, as we discussed in video number 1, it is the precursor, the prerequisite. You understand? You know how when you go to college, you have prerequisites. You may be going for, let's say, any kind of specialized PhD mastery, you know what I'm saying? Any kind of degree. But anytime you go to higher education, you have courses that you have to take because they are a prerequisite to the course that you are trying to specialize in. You can't even get to the specialized courses until you have taken and passed the course that is a prerequisite to that specialized course. And so the consciousness and the work we do healing the youngest mind of us, which is the self, is a prerequisite before you get to the deeper of you. She said that in this message, we're going to discuss what happens after you have met and passed and taken the prerequisite of learning how to love yourself first, learning how to serve others around you out of the overflow, learning how to set your standards, learning how to set your boundaries, learning how not to give what you do not have for yourself, right? After you've met those requirements, it allows for another channel to open up. It allows for another portal to open up within you. And this portal only opens up once you have completed the healing of your conscious self. Now you're able to allow your spirit team, the mother, your ancestors, the self, the spirit and the soul of you to aid you at the journey of healing the subconscious self, the egos of you, the parts of you that you don't even remember. Because remembrance is a function of the conscious mind. There are lifetimes, there are dimensions that you exist in right now that if you haven't healed the consciousness, if you haven't found the confidence of who you are right now, then there's no way possible that you can begin to journey into your past lives that are, now catch this, your past lives are just as influential in your now. Your past lives are just as influential to your now. Your subconscious is just as influential, if not more so, to your now than most of us actually think. Why, why is it that most of us don't really take the time, don't really even possibly maybe even believe how important what is playing out in the subconscious of you that your consciousness cannot retrieve? Why is that so important? The conscious mind is the youngest mind of you. The conscious mind is a new mind that you receive every time you reincarnate. The subconscious mind, the ego, the soul, the spirit of you is the collective consciousness of all of those lifetimes. I'm going to say that again. I'm going to say it a little slower for my sake, to make sure I said it the way it should be said. The conscious mind, the self, is a new mind that you receive every time you reincarnate. It is not aware of anything other than what is taking place in your life in the current lifetime. The subconscious mind, which we call the egos or the soul or the spirit, is a collection of all of those lifetimes. The ego is a much older mind. It's old. For most of us, it's ancient. And we don't remember that we are ancient. We don't remember that we've done this before. We don't remember. This is the downside of reincarnation. And this is also the side of reincarnation that the adversarial race of individuals who do not want you to evolve to higher dimensions once you leave this one is using this against you, because they know that every lifetime we pull you into this dimension, you enter in with a new mind. They know that. And then they bombard you with the false matrix and the false systems and all of these isms to keep you from discovering the manifold times in which you've already been here, so that you can use all of that wisdom to not have to come back. So, learning how to love yourself, learning how to embrace yourself, learning how to hold yourself accountable, learning how to set your standards for yourself, learning how to nurture yourself, learning how to put yourself before others, and then serving others from the overflow is imperative and key to moving to the next phase of being able to open up a channel within yourself that your mother, creator of all, her creator goddesses, your ancestors who have evolved high enough to be able to aid you, they now can begin to remind you of exactly who you really are and the power you really hold. They can remind you of your cosmic home. They can remind you now because the first things first has been taken care of. We have her in a place where she knows how to support herself, hear, hold herself accountable, investigate the nature of her now, heal what is broken, avoid what is troubling. We have her attention. So now we can begin to restore her divinity beyond the third dimension. I see a lot of spiritual people who seem to be very comfortable at the first phase. And that is not a judgment, it's an observation. I see a lot of people who are very gifted spiritually and they're comfortable with just being gifted spiritually. So if they remain there in that complacency, in that arrogance, then they will rob for themselves the ability to not just alchemize and manipulate the matter of this lifetime, the situations of this lifetime, the consciousness of this lifetime, but they will rob from themselves the ability to heal and restore themselves from millennials ago. Because see, what you have to understand is that a lot of us are dealing with karmic situations now, in the now, because the groundwork for these karmic situations was laid millenniums ago. And you are just now even possibly trying to gain the prerequisite to be able to deal with the old that is playing out in your current lifetime. But once you come to healing the consciousness of you, it doesn't stop there. It goes a little deeper because now you have become a channel. And the things that you have forgotten that also needs to be tended to in your evolution, in your moving forward, the things that need to be tended to happened in an age, in a time that is long past. So it is not directly connected to your consciousness, but it is playing out in the background. Because divine feminines, we have learned self-love, learned self-respect, learned self-confidence. We have healed and are healing the consciousness of ourselves that has been predicated upon the traumas of this lifetime. The mother, your spirit team, your ancestors is ready to bring in a new revelation to you. Not just of what happened in the past, but what you are becoming in the future that you have no imagination for, because the conscious mind has to be opened up in order to receive this. It functions in the now. It doesn't function in the future, and it doesn't function in the past. It's functioning in the now. The now is the lifetime that you're in right now. So the conscious mind is aware of your past, like when you was 3 and 4 years old in this lifetime. The consciousness is aware of your future as long as it is in this lifetime. But when you start talking about another dimension, another revelation, another reality that you have yet to have any experience in, you have to go into this channel. This portal has to be open to you. This is why shucking and jiving and fooling around with people who are low vibrational really robs you. It really robs you. Be okay with hermit mode. Be okay with isolation. Be okay with it. When it's time for the universe to bring high vibrational people into your life who can support and continue, and you can support them, and you can give and you can receive on some balance type stuff, they will come. But don't pad yourself with a lot of low vibrational people and think that it's okay. Because what you're doing is you're blocking up the line. Now, I'm not old enough to remember party lines. I'm not. I really never understood what they meant by a party. I mean, I kind of got the concept about a party line, when there's a bunch of people on the line or whatever. I don't be knowing, but I ain't old enough to remember party lines. But I am old enough to remember sitting on the house phone, and all of a sudden you get that frequency, and then you could just hear other people's conversations. It's like the frequency get crossed up, and then some other people start talking, and they on the phone, but they can't hear you though, and who you're talking to. And they don't know you hearing them. It's just a little frequency thing that happens. And I used to sit on the phone with my friend when we was in elementary school, and then they get to talking, and we'll try to like listen to what they're saying. Ooh, you hear that? Yeah. What they talking about? I don't know. we being nosy. We listen to what they're saying. I don't know why they weren't never saying nothing we really wanted to hear though. But anyway, I remember that. And so what happens when you allow people who are not vibrating high enough, they begin to junk up the line. They begin to junk up the channel of your consciousness. And so what the mother wants to reveal to your subconscious, from your subconscious to your consciousness, can't come because you got all these other random low vibrational situations and stuff just dangling and just hanging around in your consciousness that you keep feeding into and dealing with, and karmic this and he did that and she went over there did that and they did that and he betrayed me and she did that and I don't know and which way did he go. You got all this stuff going on in your lifetime because you haven't cleared the channel. But self-love, when it is acquired, is a prerequisite to opening up that channel. And new revelation and new impartation can be received when the channel of your subconscious can reach the frequency of your consciousness, because your consciousness is not bombarded with a lot of nothingness, with a lot of low, heavy, dense, earthly shit. We have to fearlessly love ourselves enough to want to reconnect to our past lives, recognizing the wealth of information that is not accessible to us except we reconnect to our past selves. So the many become one again. The many the many fragments of you become one again when you are able to access the other fragments of you that was left in a lifetime 100 years ago. And what did you learn in that lifetime? And what about 1,000 years ago? And what did you learn in that lifetime? Because we already were told that there is nothing new under the sun. The things we are experiencing now, we experienced then. But the conscious mind, the youngest mind of you, is totally unaware of that. So everything feels like a new lesson, a new situation, a new why I'm going through this, a new me again. It's me again. It's new. It's not new to you. Nothing that you're experiencing right now is new to you. We are on Groundhog's Day time. Y'all remember that movie? Groundhog's Day? Well, he go to sleep and he wake up and he repeat the same day over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Until he became conscious enough to begin to do something different in his day, to begin to choose, because he realized that he was experiencing the same day over and over and over and over and over again. This is what reincarnation is. It's Groundhog's Day. So don't feel like what you're experiencing right now, good or bad, is new to you. It is not new to you, but you have the task before you to retrieve the information that is deep in the reservoirs of your mind. And in order to do that, we have to clear what the conscious mind with its young, wet behind the ears, don't know nothing but what's going on right now. The conscious mind, we have to clear that. We have to heal that. We have to deal with that. Get it to like sit over here, right? Sit right here. Sit down. When you got one of them hyper children, and for the most part, you just let them run around and do whatever. But it's every now and then you just have to, hey, 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 come over here, sit right here, sit. Just nope, don't move, just sit right there. That's what you have to do to your conscious mind because it's young and it wants to run rampant and run and just make decisions and act like it don't know what's going on and play stupid and everything. It's you know what I mean? It's still trying to grow up. You know what I'm saying? And after a while, you have to just say, sit right here for a second. Sit right here. Calm yourself. And this is when we meditate. And this is when we go in prayer. This is when we go into invocations, and this is when we talk to our ancestors, and this is when we have quiet moments. This is when we do grounding. We're telling the conscious mind to sit right here for a sec. Okay? All right. Don't move now. Don't move. And when you have the ability to do that, when you have the ability for the youthfulness of the conscious mind, when you have control, when you have regained and matured the conscious mind, instead of letting it run rampant and have you involved in things that you shouldn't be involved with people that you probably shouldn't be involved with, and just settling for less and settling for that and being focused on that, even though that ain't got nothing to do with the assignment and the reason and the calling and the destiny and the purpose. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing, but this is what you're focused on. And when you get self-love and self-respect, and you mature the conscious mind and you teach it how to sit down for a second, stop talking for a second, and we need to listen. And when you get in a place where you realize I need to listen, I don't need to be here doing this, doing that right now. No, don't go right, go left. No, don't go left, go right. Because there's something down there that I need to hear or I need to see. If I go right, then I'm going to miss that. Then I'm not going to be there to listen for that. If I go over here, if I do that, right? When you learn how to have a little bit more direction, conscious direction over your consciousness, if that even makes sense. It does to me. When you have a little more of the ability to listen, then the channel opens up and new revelation about your destiny and about your purpose and about who you are and about why you are here can be received. New impartation can be received. In the Bible, they talk about logos, and I was just in a conversation the other day with the ex-husband, and he was talking about logos and rhema word, right? And they both have their importance. And in this message, the rhema word is ready to be given to us as divine feminists, the new marching orders, the new understanding. We have to realize that with all of the books and the logos word we have, particularly as uh as humanity. I mean, in this situation, I don't even think this could be, divided by race, because whatever was burned, whatever was lost, whatever was stolen, whatever is sitting down in the basements of cathedrals and all of that that they won't let the general public have access to, it is a robbery of the all of humanity. But the fact is that as a melanated people, there is much about our history as the original people, and even more specifically, as divine feminines, melanated divine feminines, there's even more information about our history that they are never going to allow us to have logos access to. They're never going to let you look at those books again, ever, if they even still exist. Because to let you see that written down would destroy the foundations of falsehood that they have built society on, and all of its structures and all of its systems. I mean, it would alter too much, and they would lose too much. So it is very important that as you heal the idea of yourself, that you recognize that healing the consciousness of you through self-love, through self-respect, through self-confidence, through self-awareness is the prerequisite. And after you have fulfilled that, it opens up the ability for you to be able to retrieve what they think you have lost. But as long as you continue to play off in the matrix and allow your consciousness to play that game, then it will remain lost to you. But the second you decide that I am going to remove myself from what I know is not true, I'm going to sit here and deal with the ideas of who I am, who I was told that I was, what I was told I could do, what I was told I could be, I could become. I'm going to heal all of that nonsense so that I can open up the channel to something outside of this dimension, namely the mother, your sister goddesses, your ancestors, your spirit team, because they have the information. You want to call it Akashic Records? Call it Akashic Records. I think that's just one way in which you can receive the information. There's visions, there's telepathy, there's a lot of ways. There's time travel to the future or to the past. There's astral projection. There's direct downloads. And then there's the intellect, where you can study what they have given us and you can pull out the lie from the truth, because you also are coupling that studying with the direct download. So you see it in the book and you say, that's a lie. That's not true. You could see it because you have a direct channel. This is the importance. Self-love and acquiring self-love and self-respect and self-confidence is way more important than just I feel good about myself. It is a prerequisite to the phase after you have acquired it, of your evolution. It is a prerequisite, because outside of that, the mind is in chaos and confusion. The frequencies are all twisted up. They can't tell you how to heal something in your past life because you're really too focused on the traumatic experiences of this lifetime. And because you're too focused on the traumatic experience of this lifetime and you haven't acquired self-love and self-respect and self-confidence, then you continue to perpetrate that trauma upon yourself every time you allow something or someone in that dishonors you because you dishonor you. As I started healing childhood trauma, adulthood trauma, bad self-perception, lack of confidence, lack of direction, as I started asking questions about why do I think that about myself? Where did that come from? Where did I get that from? Oh, okay, let me deal with that. Let me go back into my child self and give her the nurturing that she feels she didn't get. Whatever she feels she didn't get, I take full responsibility for it, and I sit down. I quiet my mind. I make time. I stop ripping and running. I stop, just being here and there. I carve out time to nurture, to care for me. And as I started doing that, there came a point where Spirit started to remind me of things in old lifetimes, past lifetimes, that I had not remembered. And the remembrance of those things that played out, whether I perpetrated them or whether it was perpetrated upon me, it helped me understand why I am experiencing what I am experiencing in this lifetime, which further aided me at bringing an end to the blame game. It aided me at ending my victim mentality, because I realized that what I'm experiencing in this lifetime is the universe still trying to get me to complete the prerequisite. Complete the course. This is why that happened, this happened, that happened. And you've spent X amount of years as an adult wallowing around in trauma and thereby continuing to traumatize yourself. And this has been following you from a lifetime that you don't even remember. But now that you have decided to heal, now that you have decided to do yourself the favor of developing a healthy sense of self-love, self-respect, restore your confidence, figure out where it was broken, figure out where it was taken from you, and get it back. See, get it back. Now we can show you. Now the channel is open because you have ears to hear and eyes to see and a heart to feel. Your crown is clear now. And they begin to remind me and bring to my consciousness things that I could not retrieve, that was playing in the background of my current lifetime, that I needed to pass and move on from that course, that prerequisite, in order for me to evolve further. And it kind of, in the beginning, I was like, who, me? Like, huh? I did what? 1,000 years ago? Stop it. You lying. But it was a shock. But as the channel remains clearer and you begin to remember and you begin to have the visions and you begin to astral project and you begin to telepathically revisit things, you're no longer just having dreams when you go to sleep. You're now traveling. Fourth dimension. Fifth dimension. You're remembering. What happens is you begin to vibrate high enough because now you have the wisdoms. You have the wisdoms, even if it's not like I don't know how to explain that. It's like an innate knowing. It's like an innate knowing. And when you get into that innate knowing, that innate wisdom that is locked inside of you and goes with you in every lifetime, and when you unlock that, it raises the vibrations of your current lifetime. And so you start manifesting certain things. Many of you, as you have done and are doing the work to heal, self-love, loving yourself fearlessly, loving your divinity fearlessly, establishing your boundaries fearlessly, raising your standards fearlessly and with courage, it is going to bring about a new revelation and a new impartation. And that new impartation and that new revelation is setting you up for long-term success. This is not just about success in this lifetime. This is about success for your future. eternally as an eternal being. You're going to leave legacies for your children and those that come after you, that they will be able to stand upon the foundation that you are leaving because you healed. You learned to love yourself. You learned to not need to fill the void with anything else other than that which is genuine, that which is real. Self-love, self-respect, self-awareness, self-kindness, self-grace. You have given yourself the gift of these things, that through whatever experience that you've experienced in this lifetime may have robbed you of that before you could even probably walk good, before you could talk good. Many of us have past trauma from our childhood that runs deep, and something was taken from you. But I want to ask you a question, Divine Feminine. Are you going to go back and get it, or are you going to let them keep it? Whatever it was, if it was your confidence, are you going to let them keep it? If it was your peace of mind, are you going to let them keep that? If it was your self-love, are you going to let them keep it? Or are you going to make up in your mind that you're going to go back and retrieve what was taken? No, you can't keep that. You might have took my innocence, but you're going to have to give that back. You might have took my innocence, but you're going to have to give that back. You may have taken my ability to believe in myself, but you're going to have to give that back. You're going to have to unask that. And you may have taken my ability to love myself, but you're going to have to give it back. I want it back. Are you going to go and get yourself back? Are you going to just wallow in the pain and the disappointment and the victimizing? I was in a little meditation session. I think it was about 2 weeks ago. And I heard the mother say to me, "You're walking on your knees." I said, "Excuse me, ma'am? You're walking on your knees." And right as she said it the second time, I saw like a long dirt road, right? And I saw me on my knees crawling. In essence, that's what I was doing. That's what she was implying. But then she said, if you stand up on your feet, you can get where you're going a lot faster. I said, It sounded simple enough, but it was very profound, because a lot of times we have visions, goals, and dreams, things we know we are here to do, and we will do everything else but that. We will take the slowest route possible to get to that. We will take the slowest method of transportation possible to get to the things that we know, the things that we want to accomplish. Coming from a lack of confidence. And she said, you could keep crawling, but your knees wasn't made to walk on. And eventually, this is what she said to me, I kid you not. I kid you not. Eventually, is you're going to have to stop because the knees are not made to walk on. But if you stand up on your feet, because the feet were made for walking, then you can get where you are going a lot faster. Without the bruising, without the bleeding, without the pain, because the knees are not made to walk on. You are doing the healing, or you need to do the healing, divine feminine. And with that healing is a wealth of information that you don't readily have access to without healing. But if you heal yourself from the traumas, from the disappointments, from the heartache, if you take your healing in your hands and your hands only, it gives you access to information that you wouldn't have access to otherwise. And with that information, you are manifesting healing for your families, healing for humanity, healing for the sisterhood, healing for yourself in other dimensions that you simultaneously exist in right now. That you have to be made aware of in your consciousness. Because the consciousness that you have now is a jit. It's a young tenderoni. You know, I always admire like individuals, male or female, who are, in my age, around 40, 41, 42, 43. I mean, however old you are, like a whole grown adult, and you still have your grandparents. You still have your grandparents, a grandmom, a grandfather, somebody you could talk to and get that old wisdom. I've always admired that. All of my grandparents are deceased. And they've been deceased since before I was like a whole grown adult. Right? But there is a benefit, a great benefit, to be able to sit and listen and learn from someone who is older than you. There is a great benefit to having access to a wisdom that comes with age. And so, in essence, what you are doing by healing yourself is you are giving yourself access to the older version of you. You're giving yourself access to the wisdom that you've already gained. You're taking the young, youthful consciousness of you and you're sitting it at the feet of the elder of you. And that is important because they don't want you to remember. Which is why they won't let you get to the books. Which is why they have them deep, 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 deep down in dungeons. And they only let scholars of certain persuasions. And they all come out from up under the dungeon, scholars of certain persuasions. And that certain persuasion is male. Oh, you thought I was going to say race, didn't you? No. That certain persuasion is male. They all make an oath to make sure. You can come in here and read whatever you want, but when you get out there and get on your platforms and everything, make sure you don't mention nothing about the mother. Make sure you don't remind none of these people that the Most High, that the way to spiritual evolution, the road, the path to evolution is within them, is divine feminine, is the mother and the goddesses. Whatever you do, when you get on your platforms, sirs, you make sure you keep pointing them back over here to God their Father. And they all take an oath. That's just my belief. Because I don't care what race, nor do I care what religion, nor do I care. I've listened to almost all of them. And I don't care. At the end of the day, they still want to suppress and keep us from having access to the creator of all creators, to the womb of all creation. They'll point you over here to a barren deity, entity, to keep you from looking over here to the one who bore you, who gave you your very essence. So when we open up and we heal divine feminines, when we heal ourselves and how we view ourselves, we allow a channel to be opened, a line of communication that returns to us an intrinsic, innate remembrance of who we are and where we come from and what we're here to do. We retrieve information about what's next after we leave here. We retrieve information that is needed, that we need to pass to each other. This is why the world system is so hell-bent on keeping their necks in one way or another on divine femininity. In both men and in women. In different ways, but nevertheless, in both. Because if our counterparts restore their understanding of who we are, after we have restored understanding of who we are, the harmony and the balance, the power, the freedom, the liberty is sure. So what you're manifesting right now through healing yourself is greater than your conscious mind can fathom without the subconscious mind informing it. What you're accomplishing, the long term legacy that you're building just through healing. I'm not even talking about you done went out and put your hands to a particular certain thing occupationally. I'm just talking about through your healing. The long term legacy. Because when you heal, you begin to project a certain frequency that will subsequently bring healing to the hearts and the minds of your children, the hearts and the minds of whoever you allow to have access to you. Because you will not know how to do anything else but to vibrate as an evolved feminine, as an evolved being. Whether you are guiding, whether you are instructing, whether you are nurturing, whether you are birthing, whether you are conceiving, whether you are creating, whether you are planting, whether you are harvesting, whatever it is you are doing, it will be from the frequency of an evolved, healed, divine feminine who has the ability to retrieve divine information that has been long lost, stolen, and or hidden. There are going to be many things, if you stick around, which I hope you do, I welcome you, that you're going to hear me say. And I'm going to make sure you know when I am getting it directly from the mother, when I am getting it directly from one of the goddesses, when I have gotten it directly from the higher dimensions of light. I'm going to let you know because people have a hard time. See, I'm not a historian. I make this very clear. I study, but I am not a historian. I am not a debater. I am not a philosopher. I am a spiritualist. So if you can't go find what I said in a book, that sounds like a personal problem. Because I received it. And the reason why you can't find it is because it's been lost, stolen, and or hidden. We have to get back to being truly magical and spiritually powerful people. Because spirituality is about change. Spirituality is about evolution. This is why they use certain symbols like the serpent to denote divine femininity. This is why they use certain symbols, because she is evolution. So we have to speak to her and listen to her to know what she's doing next. This is why they don't want you to talk. This is why they don't want you to restore that connection to the creator of all creators. They don't want you to, because what then you are becoming, they can't shackle you down. They can't pinpoint you down. They can't track you. They can't figure that. I don't know. I don't know where she at. They'll be spirit monitoring and will not be able to find you. And you'll be able to hear them panicking. I hear them all the time panicking. All the time. I don't know where she is. tickles me because any see this is how you um move yourself to a frequency that those who do not go through these prerequisites and these proper channels, I don't care how spiritually powerful they think they are, and I don't care what system of spirituality they are using, name it, and I do not care. Because if they have not gone through the proper channels, the proper healing, the proper prerequisite that it takes to move into a higher vibration, then as you are moving and elevating yourself, there's going to come a point where they simply cannot find you. Doesn't mean they won't try. Doesn't mean you will not be made aware of that they're trying. It just simply means that they will not be able to find you. They will not be able to impede upon your space cosmically. Because it's too, see, in order to get that, you have to actually go through the course, like you have to heal, like, right? So if you haven't done that part, then you can shama lama ding dong walla walla bing bam all day long, I promise you. And it will be fruitless when it comes to certain individuals who have raised their frequencies above that which can be seen and above certain non-seen dimensions. Because as you start moving up beyond past the fourth dimension, because all spell work takes place in the fourth dimension. Fourth dimension is time and space. All spell work takes place in the fourth dimension. It is imperative. The third dimension is what we spoke about in the first video. That is your consciousness. Third dimension. This dimension that we all are experiencing right now on the planet. Fourth dimension is the next dimension up. And it is the invisible dimension just above this one. It is time and space and has a direct impact on what takes place in the third dimension. That fourth dimension is where all of the past life stuff that you need to access, that's where that's being housed. Karma, dharma, whatever you want to call it, past life relationships, manifesting again in different bodies and all this, all that's coming from the fourth dimension. Afterlife, all that's coming from the fourth dimension. So as you open up the channel, you move up dimensions. And so when you start getting up above the fourth dimension and going into the fifth dimension and the sixth dimension as a frequency, like I mean you have a inner access to it, and you are vibrating from those higher dimensions, bringing the higher dimensions, the ones above the fourth dimension, down to the third dimension. So when you are doing that, then everybody who's playing around with the little shamalama and the little roots or whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm saying? I do a little something, but I do light work. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter what you do, dark or light, it doesn't matter. But everybody playing around with the little darkness and stuff and throwing the little stuff and trying to block you and stop you and root you and toot you and whatever else, that's all fourth dimension. But when you raise your frequency up above that, they will have a hard time, next to impossible, because your frequency is out of the scope of their reach. Because to move past that fourth dimension takes for you to do the work. And it starts in the third dimension, healing the consciousness of who you are as a self. And when you heal that and you go back into your current timeline, your current lifetime, and deal with the past hurts of this lifetime and retrieve whatever you feel was taken from you and give it, and you make yourself whole again, it gives you access to now be able to move into the fourth dimension where you can start clearing karma. You can start going back and remember assignments that you did not complete in old lifetimes. And after you do that, and while you're doing that, you are steadily raising your frequency, and you become a frequency that allows for those around you to be. This is the overflow phase. This is when you get to the overflow phase, because now I've already established my boundaries. I've already established my standards. I already have my self-love intact. I have my self-confidence intact. I don't need any false validation. I ain't feeling no voids. I ain't pacifying myself with no sorry ass people just leeching and lurking around me just to make me feel good. No, they can go have several seats. I'm okay if I have to sit here by myself. I'm perfectly okay, right? Like, I've done that already. So now I have an overflow because I'm pulling my frequency from a higher dimension. And when we do that, we begin to repair and restore others around us. We repair and restore the assignment that was placed on us and the reason why we're here to begin with. We repair and restore the idea of what our destiny is, what our purpose is. We repair and restore. We begin to get into a greater understanding of not just our occupation, but our vocation. Many of you are going to come into, as you go through this process and as you are doing the work, there's wealth and inheritance that has been spiritually waiting for you to get to so that you can retrieve it spiritually. This is the moment where the scripture that says, I wish that I prosper. I hope that I prosper. And I'm paraphrasing. But I will that I prosper. Even as my soul prospers. The divine inheritance, the birthright that was taken from you, at the level of the soul. You have to go get it. You have to go retrieve that. So all of the little stuff that you're dealing with in this lifetime is light work compared to what you really have to go retrieve. You have to go retrieve your birthright, divine feminines. You have to go retrieve your birthright. Prosperity. A prosperity that springs from the prosperity of the soul. This prosperity is so important because, as I discovered, as I did my work and do my work to heal, this prosperity is literally victory, liberation over any form of systematic slavery Folks want to sit up all day long and start talking about the Anunnaki and they built the people and they was turning everybody for slaves and did. I don't care who did it. The fact of the matter is that I'm not going to stay there. I was watching this video the other day of Dr. Maya Angelou, and I believe she was quoting someone else, or she was reciting one of her poems. I think that's what she was doing. She was reciting one of her poems, and in one of her poems, she said something to the effect of, "I was born to work." Sure, absolutely. I was born to work, but I wasn't born to be a slave. And she says some other stuff in the poem, and then she recites that part. I was born to work. Yes, I was born to work, but I wasn't born to be a slave. And that was really profound for me because that's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel, which is why I have made many of the changes that I have made in the last 3 years. Because I realized that I was conditioned to be a slave, first as a person, first as a human being, secondly as a woman, and thirdly, and not leastly, as a divine feminine. I was in mental, emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual slavery. And I made it my business that if healing was what I needed to do, then that's what I'm going to do. And since I've been on this healing journey, since I've started restoring and retrieving what was taken from me, I've broken any consciousness at all that I ever had of any sort of slavery from off of my soul. From off of my soul. I may not ever have the most money in the world. I may not ever drive the newest car, the baddest car in the world. I may not ever get a pair of red bottoms or a bad bag. I may not ever rock a nice Rolex and some diamond rings with a few clusters. I may not ever. But I am one of the wealthiest people I know. Hands down. Because I made prospering my soul more important than anything this system and the people that control it could even fathom to give me. And every financial and tangible piece of my wealth that is going to come in this dimension is directly coming and flowing from the prosperity of my soul as a divine feminine. I went back and got my innocence and got my self-love, and I went back and I got my self-confidence. I went back and I got believing in myself, and I gave them back their fear, and I gave them back their sin, hell, and the grave. I gave them back their doubt. I gave them back anything that they was using. You can have it. It belongs to you. I didn't come here with it and I'm not staying with it. You have to make up in your minds, divine feminines, that that's no longer good enough for you. And any element of your life and anything that this system and these people and whatever and whoever around you tries to do to continue to build fear, doubt, disbelief, shame, guilt, condemnation, you have to make up in your mind that none of that is good enough for me. None of that resonates with me. Greed doesn't resonate with me. I prosper as my soul prospers. My soul comes first. In order to do that, we have to restore that relationship. You have to know your soul as good as you know your best girlfriend or your best homeboy or your boyfriend or your husband or your wife. You have to know your soul as much as you know your children, as well as you know your cousins and them. And if you don't know them very well, but then you definitely need to know your soul better than that. But you have to know you, the multiple emanations of you. If you want victory over this systematic slavery, over the density and the darkness, if you want victory, fearlessly loving yourself opens up the channel to retrieve what they thought they took from you. And you have every opportunity through the power of the Most High, creator of all creators, womb of the universes, as her direct emanation and her daughter. You have all access. But you gotta love yourself because she is love. She is love. So love of yourself is how you reflect the love she is. And loving yourself is the prerequisite to the evolution, the throne and the crown that is waiting for you because it is yours. It always was yours. And whenever you are ready, you can put it back on. This has been Sacred Empowerments of the Divine Feminine. I am YaYa, the spiritual doula. Thank you, my sisters, for tapping in. Please take a moment, if you have not, to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Okay, so you'll know when I'm back with another one. I greatly appreciate. Leave your comments. Let me know how these messages are resonating with you. All right, I love to hear from you. Okay. I will be back with part 3 of this message, so please stay tuned. Keep your eyes out for that, and I will see you when I see you. Peace, family.